Copa America 2024, brought to you by
KFC, J-Ray and Nephew, Quartz, Sunshine Snacks.
It's Thursday, June 20, 2024. Thanks for joining us for CVM News at noon. I'm Nika Lewis. Now, commanding officer for the St. James Police Division, Superintendent Aaron Samuels, is reporting a decline in serious crimes in the parish since the start of the year, a feat he associates with robust investigations and continued crime-fighting efforts in the once murderous parish. He provided an update this week.
Since the start of the year, we have seized 54 firearms to include 8 rifles. 5 of those firearms were seized last week, 2 of those being rifles. And our latest seizure was done by specialized operations yesterday within the division. We also have seized upwards of 850 rounds of ammunition, assorted rounds of ammunition. And we are happy that these guns and ammunition are off the streets, which helps us to keep the place safe. In context, we have had a 22% reduction in murders since the start of the year. And we believe that if we push hard enough, we will see some even greater gains.
Despite having one of the grittiest divisions, the commanding officer notes their relatively small team has gotten much investigation done. He says this is why the division is boasting one of the largest clear-up rates for the murders and rapes in the parish. He shared a recent success story.
Just yesterday, one wanted person, Jimlos Lee Warren O.C. Janos, was held in Kingston as he tried to get some documents to see if he could leave the country. He was held and charges will be preferred against him, and we'll clear up some incidents of crime that he has been charged for. The St. James Division, we have a high level of arrest. We have arrested persons who for minor crimes, major crimes, and we have done so without the use of force. Whilst last week we had 2 incidents where members attacked members of my team and the area support team. Unfortunately, these persons succumbed to injuries they received as a result of the attack against the security forces.
Meanwhile, the police in St. Anne recently conducted a walk-through exercise in Steertown as part of efforts to reassure residents. The outreach comes after an individual from the community was accused of killing a cop and was later shot fatally by the police in the parish.
The police in Jamaica have pledged to serve, protect, and reassure. And that's exactly why the St. Anne Police conducted a walkthrough in sections of Steertown to reassure residents. In the lead, the division's commanding officer, SSP Dwight Powell.
I want to express commendation on behalf of the entire police management from St. Anne for the kind of cooperation that we have received from the citizens in terms of our law enforcement initiative. So of course we have consistent presence in this community, and we are happy that the community is showing some sign of semblance of hope.
He commended the citizens on the law and order, though there's more to be done.
Traditionally, you know that Steertown has been the main violent hotspot in the division of St. Anne. And so we have been working this area assiduously with level 2 presence in terms of our operational elements, and we are reaping some success.
The year has started with one shooting incident in the community where the perpetrator has been brought to justice, and though no crime is good, the senior cop wishes to see further improvement.
We are appealing to those who are bent on creating mayhem in the community to resist the urge, because we'll be here. We'll ensure that law and order is maintained and that this community is on the road of recovery.
SSP Powell is reminding violence producers they're being warned not to come back in the community to disturb the peace. His warning is bolstered by the promise that the security forces will not relent as more development is in the making.
During our walkthrough today, some of the issues that came to the fore was that people were asking for some skill training center to be established in Steertown. Of course, we will talk to the representative from the political side to see how best they can get that going, as also the Archers NTA to see how best we can bring some hope, especially to the people in Steertown.
Trisha Gay Kelly, CVM News.
In other news now, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton this morning hosted a media briefing to address speculations made by the opposition regarding ventilators. The minister highlighted the number of working ventilators and those being repaired.
There are 210 ventilators in the public health system. And as I said, a full listing of that will be placed on our website. Of that number, 118 are, as of the end of that audit, in active use, 118. 40 are going through a process of maintenance for one reason or the other, routine maintenance, taking out of service for maintenance, a very complicated piece of equipment. And in some instances of that 40, some are waiting on parts for servicing. The rest are obsolete. They are not functional. They can't be used. And so there's a process that is involved in getting them out of the system.
Data suggests that the Jamaican diaspora in the United States of America is the largest Caribbean immigrant group. President Biden on Tuesday announced a new policy which could see some Jamaican immigrants receiving their U.S. citizenship. Speaking on CVM's lead story on Wednesday, founder of Sekou Clark Law Group, Sekou Clark, and founder and managing attorney at Francis Law, Xavier Francis, say the move by the Biden administration is an attempt at keeping families together.
Well, I mean, he is essentially trying to portray uniting families, right? Because what this executive order does, it shows that to the immigrant base that, hey, we are here for you. This bill, this executive order, it's going to affect over 500,000 families. So if you have over 500,000 families that can now be united, that can now live and work and be together and continue to pursue the American dream.
I think this is sort of intended to help family members who have been stuck in this immigration limbo to get out of that tough part and finally adjust their status to permanent residency and eventually find a clear pathway to citizenship. So, these are members who contribute in various ways.
Red Stripe is promoting moderate responsible drinking with its Responsibility Now Town Hall series. The fifth meeting held at the company's headquarters focused on the media's role in supporting moderation practices as well as its own role as corporate citizens.
Red Stripe's Responsibility Now Town Hall series continues with its fifth installment today. The series promotes responsible, moderate alcohol consumption, and Tuesday's edition spotlights the crucial role of the media in shaping public perceptions and behaviors.
The media is one very important stakeholder in this matrix of thought leaders and advocates who play a pivotal role in shaping the societal roles in our society. They have an explicit and implicit capacity to advocate and frame issues of national importance, and therefore today we have brought together a diverse panel of experts to analyze the topic of responsible consumption and bringing strategic and practical solutions to the table.
Media practitioners on the panel emphasize the importance of balanced and realistic depictions of alcohol use in media, insisting both enjoyment and risks associated with consumption should be portrayed.
Media has a responsibility to show both sides of the same coin. We should be the ones to show this is what happens when you don't drink in moderation. This is what happens when you do drink in moderation.
Should it just be that 0.5 seconds sped up adults 18 and older at the end of a radio commercial? Is that enough Does it feel like we just feel obligated to say this, or does it feel like we mean it when we treat it that way? When it's the smallest line item on an ad, or just in the caption, is that saying as a brand that this is very important to me, or is it saying that I'm checking a box? I think we have to get a little bit more introspective.
Meanwhile, Diane Ashton-Smith, head of corporate affairs, maintains it is essential to keep the conversation going surrounding influence of public drinking towards responsible drinking.
It's something that we have to continue talking about over and over again to create the behavior change that we want. We have been having this conversation from as early as 2004, and it continues every single year. So stay tuned for more, because we'll continue the conversation as we hope to make moderation cool and aspirational.
Andrew Laidley for CVM News.
Now stay tuned for more CVM News at noon after this break.
Listen, I'm about to drive. Let me call you back.
Road safety begins with you.
A message from the Road Safety Unit in the Island Traffic Authority.
It's time to paint and play. Enjoy a complete bonding experience with a family canvas fiesta. Get ready for a steam-tastic extravaganza and dive into some slime time fun. Paint and Play promises to be a fun-filled day and more. Register now to be there on Sunday, July 7 at the Holiday Inn in Montego Bay from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Don't miss out. It's going to be an unforgettable day. See you at Paint and Play.
You good, Mark? No, I know. From where they may have these terrible heartburns. I don't know why. What kind of food you eating? To tell you the truth, I mostly eat fast food. I live alone and I'm too busy for cook my youth. And that's your problem. You're eating too much processed food and building up trans fats. Trans fats? What that? Trans fats is a type of fats in a processed foods like fried chicken, fries, donuts, and them things there. So how that cause heartburn? So eating trans fats can cause heartburn or acid reflux. So if you don't stop eating or cut back on the amount you eat, things can get worse. Like what? You can get heart attacks, stroke, type 2 diabetes, or even die. But fats and oils, no important for eating my youth. Yes, but the healthy kind in a vegetable aisle, nuts, seeds, and fish. Okay, no, I'm gonna switch up my diet starting today. Just remember to balance it out with your fresh fruits, vegetables, and ground provision.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
It's the biggest South American football tournament, Copa America 2024. From June 20 to July 14, see it happen only on CVM TV. And we're bringing the action straight to you. Come out to our CVM Copa Fan Central locations and cheer on the Reggae Boys as they go up against the likes of Brazil, Argentina, and Mexico. Enjoy drink specials, entertainment, and who knows, you just might leave with a prize or two. Come for the game and stay for the vibes. CVM Copa Fan Central.
KFC, J-Ray and Nephew, Courts, Sunshine Snacks. Bollywood has never been this good. Catch Made for Each Other weekdays at 12:30 p.m. on your drama station. Brought to you by
Hyundai Island Conditions apply.
Welcome back. It's now time for our discussion segment. Well, grade 4 students across the country are sitting their second day of the Primary Exit Profile Examinations, PEP. And the PEP exams are not just done in grade 4, but you'll realize they now span over 3 years, and they consist of a performance task, an ability test, and a curriculum-based test. So the exams are all aimed at preparing students for secondary school. We have joining us the principal of the Gregory Park Primary School, Mr. Richard Williams. Welcome, Mr. Williams.
Good afternoon, Ms. Louise. Thanks for having me.
Indeed. Well, it's a wonderful time, I presume, for some parents and teachers, but not so much for some of these students. Please break down how the assessment is being done now over the 3-year period.
Okay, thank you so much. The program starts at grade 4, where they will do, previously when we used to do our GSAT or the first time exams, we used to do the literacy and numeracy tests. And those used to be 40 questions or 40 items. Now they still do a literacy and a numeracy test. So on the first day, they'll do a literacy test, but it requires just 30 items for the students to complete. That will take them around 40 minutes. And then after that, they will get a break, they'll have their lunch, and then they return for an hour and a half where they do their language arts performance tasks. And then the next day, they will do a numeracy test, another 30 items. And then after lunch, they do a mathematics performance task. And that covers that for grade 4.
Yes.
And then on to grade 5, where they will do 4 performance tasks in language arts and science on day 1, and then they do mathematics and social studies on the second day. Now, these performance tasks, they carry 20%, 20 marks each for grades 4 and 5. And then at grade 6, they will do an ability test, which is marked out of 40, 2 performance tasks, one in mathematics and one in language arts, each marking out of 40 again. And then they'll do the curriculum-based tests, which is language arts and science on day 1, and maths and social studies, and those also carry 40 marks. Now for grade 4, the test is done in June. Grade 5, it's at the beginning of June. And then grade 6, the ability test is done in February. The performance task is done in March. And then the curriculum-based tests are done in April.
Oh, feels a bit complicated. Are the children expressing any frustration or fatigue when it comes around to exam time now, starting from grade 4, grade 5, grade 6, and then the break apart? How are students responding, especially at your institution? How are your students responding to these changes?
Well, for example, grade 6, we first of all, we would speak to our parents and the students about the trajectory that they will have to be on for the 3 years. So once you enter Gregory Park Primary, you're told that at the end of grade 6, you should complete your exams, and we're anticipating that the standard would be that no child should get less than 80%. And, you set some standards there. But as the years progress, you work with your teachers to ensure that you prepare the students. By the time they get to grade 4, it operates like an in-house test. So it's not anything that you would put them under undue stress, but you just let them know that it's the beginning of the profile.
Yes.
And everything they do will add up over the next 3 years. So they are aware, because even today students were saying, sir, I want to do so well because I want to go to X and Y school, and how much marks do I need to get in order to prepare myself for grade 6. So they have an understanding of what is required. As it relates to being stressed and mentally fatigued, or no, I don't think at this stage we try not to make it as pressuring as that. I know when they get to grade 6, it's a difference. No, it's at the end, and they know they want to do well. And children will always be children, and they'll do the things that children will do. So once they are prepared, they will express themselves. And those who are to do very well will do very well. And those who are to do well will do well.
It's rather interesting, because I'm curious to know the reasoning behind the exam now being done over that time frame.
Well, a few years ago, when the curriculum changed and they were looking at, the ministry was looking at how we assess the students, coming from common entrance into GSAT and then into PEP. I think the aim was to give the students, so I remember when we were doing common entrance, we used to write a composition in the 80s early time. When we moved to GSAT, it was just They had adjusted the common entrance for us to do mental ability, language arts, and mathematics. And we never used to do any more writing. GSAT brought in